good morning, you guys. Great morning to you. It's Coffee with Shannon. I'm here with Meredith Allen. Hi, Meredith.
Greetings from Los Angeles.
We're like neighbors. We're on the other side of the coast.
Yeah.
It's great to have you here. And I just want to pray a intention over this interview that anybody who's battling with just their inner dialogue of creating the business that they want, or even second guessing themselves on whether or not it's worth pushing this boulder up a hill. You really are a stand for when you change your attitude and change really your viewpoint. I call it your viewpoint. It's like, it's like I was coaching somebody this morning. It was like her focus was on like who she is and standing for who she is as a limited human being. Right. And not meaning to, right. This is a very strong woman, not meaning to, but like almost like making up excuses for the way my life looks this way because, I'm this, or like I'm an empath, or I got, I didn't have a really good childhood, or whatever that looks like. Right. And it's like we can stand on that or we can change our viewpoint. And when we change our viewpoint, our perspective completely changes. When our perspective changes, it's like the floodgates to heaven open up. So I just am praying that when people listen to you speak and listen to your story, that they get empowered, that they get that today doesn't have to be a day that they let go by them. I was just sharing with a friend of mine yesterday how powerful it is to have great friendships and depths of friendships. And, these are all gifts that we have, and like everybody has access to it. You know what I mean? Like my friend and I were driving down the street crying because we just felt so much love. And that's not from the girl who used to get beat when she was a kid. You get what I'm saying? Like the perspective changes and then the floodgates to heaven open. So Meredith, you are a client of ours. You're in our private program.
Yes. And leadership.
And leadership. And actually what we're really talking about is leadership, when at the essence, it's where your viewpoint has everything to do with your leadership. Okay, so let's jump into just a little bit of a background about who you are, just as far as like, what do you do right now? What's your job? Like, what's your company?
Yeah, so I've been a marketing consultant and an agency owner for almost 8 years. And a lot of that time, Shanda, I had wonderful wins, but I never really paid close attention. And the promoter in me, and when you get into leadership, you learn that, to the numbers. Yeah. I just love serving people and helping grow companies. But I had always had this dream of coming to California. And I had been a TV anchor for many years, and I had a lot of cool opportunities through the years, but I left it all behind. I literally sold everything. Yeah. It was really hairy and scary, and came out to LA, one of the most expensive places to live in the world. And it was like the floodgates opened, and then I kind of got scared again because it's so expensive. So I went to the Zone and I said, I'm going to get a coach. That was my only
event coming up. The Zone event is coming up end of September. You guys go get your tickets, thezoneevent.com. Sorry, I have to plug that because it's like lives change there. Okay.
So you don't even have to plug it because I'm going to tell you amazing things that happened since I went there, and they will know. So I will just say, best decision ever to go. Yeah. Unfortunately, when I was there, I was so inspired, but I had a tragic thing happen. My dad collapsed while I was there. And, we all have, life comes up. Shanda, you talk about this. Yeah. And I decided to stay, not knowing exactly what was going on, just to finish it out. I wanted to be a finisher. And my heart was in like, okay, let me join. I saw all these amazing success stories. And I thought, I'm a TV anchor. I could host a summit. Yeah. And then I got excited because I love, as a motivational speaker, I do a lot of speaking about the possibility of having a vision of lifting a room. I talked to your husband when I was there, and he said, Meredith, what about having your own stage one day? These were possibilities before the Zone I had never thought about. But here's the problem, Shanda. I was not humble enough. And I thought, okay, I no problem. I'll join, even though my intention was only to have a coach. I'll join PACE. I'll join leadership. I'm going to go all in. Okay. So I was in the energy and it was great. And then I was terrified. And then these other feelings came up like, okay, if you're a TV anchor, you can do this, no problem. So I'm a spender. Raise your hand if you're a spender, right? Like I wanted to invest. Exactly. I believe in investing so much in personal and professional development. But guess what, guys? Here's the kicker. You've got to do the work. So I hired an excellent VA team. And I didn't listen to the details. So I didn't.
So let me give some context around this. So for people who don't, like, people who are seeing us for the first time, have never been here. So the Zone Events event I do every year. It's an annual event for entrepreneurs. I personally took everything I love about events and put it in this event. I took everything I hate, which is like multiple different speakers speaking on a stage about small little topics that get your head spinning, because they're designed to open up possibilities so that you can see what you'd want and then execute on what you want. But the challenge is most of us don't execute on what we want. We just sit there and spin with 4 ideas that we feel like we need to do them both, and we go home feeling like crap. So I changed that. So Meredith went to that. At that event, you have an opportunity to join our PACE Private program. She jumped in because she felt like a piece of the program that we do, which is around building an audience, which, so we don't have to get into all those details, but her audience build was not really that big. So you did that part of the program.
Yeah, and I want to just say, though, I take full ownership. And that's the thing is, when you have a massive failure, for me, I was astounded. It's very good. It's humbling. It's a learning. And, and then I took leadership, and I'm just going to have to sing praises for a minute here. That was the best investment of my personal and professional life. And that is because you begin to see everything. Yeah. And I recognize not only did I have a huge hand in that failure to build a huge list. I mean, you can message me. I'll tell you about all my mistakes if you'd like at another time. But the bottom line is I had to shift my mindset and stop thinking about the failure and recognize the opportunities and just be open and stay positive. And a couple things that were unbelievable came out of my summit. One of which was I was praising a speaker. So wherever you are in life, I just think you have to make meaningful connections. And I met so many lovely people that I had never had the good fortune to speak to before through my summit. And one of my speakers, I was praising her, said, you know what? I think you'd be great for a keynote speech at an event in Bali. And I'm like, really? That's so lovely of you. I'm going to submit you, she said right away. She took massive action. Within one day, I was hired to go to Bali, which was like a dream for me. And like they're flying me first class, Shanda.
Okay, now Meredith, let me give some context to this. So one of the things that we teach, it's only in the first couple months of the program, we teach how to build this audience build. And the way that we do that is we have you connect with like amazing people like Meredith is talking about connecting with. And when they connected, you guys obviously created a bond, a relationship, and she went and she booked you first class to Bali to go speak, which is a dream come true. I mean, there's people like, I've never been booked to go to Bali. You know what I mean? Like, it's a dream come true. And when these opportunities, I believe that, I don't even believe, I just know. Most people's lack of success comes from not putting themselves in the actual stream of possibility. Like, it's like, you're actually now, and our clients, you guys get in connection with more people. And so you're actually there's like, I hate using the word flow because people use flow to get out of work, but it's like there is an abundance flow to the world. You know what I mean? There just is. Like, our maker created this universe, and in this universe, there's good things and bad things that are happening all the time. You choose what crew you want to hang out with. And in our PACE Private program, it's a crew that we consider in the abundance stream. Like you're in a place that you can have something like this happen, is what I'm saying. Like if you don't show up to events and it's like you're expecting to like meet somebody who's going to spot you and you're going to become the next YouTube star, the next New York Times best author, and like, or people are going to get behind you and book you on the stage at Bali. It's not going to happen if you're actually not in the field of dreams, right? But you were there. So now you're going first class to Bali.
Wait, it gets even better. And then I'm talking to another guest, and he says, I have this idea, and I wonder if you're open to the possibility. And of course, I'm learning to be very open to possibilities. He said, I would love to feature you on the cover of my magazine. I was like, it was a magazine about CEOs, and the whole theme, I'm a marketing and I just received it yesterday, Shanda, and I was actually in tears because I actually just, I didn't really explain it fully to those who were just tuning in, but I just lost my dad to cancer after he collapsed at the Zone. It was very fast, Shanda. And so you have these highs and real lows. And, you just don't see, sometimes through the weeds when you're all of you, I'm sure, have had some major loss or disappointments. And And then suddenly, like out of nowhere, that happens, and it's just kind of almost surreal. It's kind of hard to, I was hoping not to cry.
No, I think it's beautiful. Meredith, yesterday driving down the street with one of our clients who's also a friend, and we're crying about her journey. You know what I mean? And she told me last night that for the first time, like she said, for the first 2 years, I stayed with my business because I believed in her. And it's like, that's the type of people you want to surround yourself with. You want, like, I'm crazy about building this community to be generous. I'm like,
it's beyond generous. This community was the most loving and supportive. I met people who I'd never seen before in my life that came forward during my father's illness. Many of them are watching right now. And just the love, bar none. I've never been connected to a more, not just generous, but kind, loving, showing up and following up kind of friends. And I've got to say, my coach, Jackie Cote, oh my goodness. So then I'm going to fast forward to another amazing thing that happened.
Well, okay, hold on. Let's just ground that with everybody for a second and say, like, if someone's going through something right now and you're feeling in isolation, right? Or you're feeling like you're going through it alone, just realize that you can change that. Like, I don't want to stand here and say, like, this isn't about me pushing, or it's about empowerment and realizing that there are communities out there like ours that really do, like, I will risk somebody absolutely hating me to teach them how to live with this giving heart. Like, even like Meredith, like them following up with you. Like, if I was a leader that just spoke, like, I speak money because money's important. But if I was the leader that my heart was only about, like, every marketing tactic, like, you're only ever going to use about 3 of them in your life. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like about going deep in those marketing tactics so that you become masterful at them and there's not the ups and downs of the actual market. Like, you should get so good at the marketing tactic that you're using that there really isn't a bunch of ups and downs. Like, even if you fail, it's a colossal win. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a failure because you didn't get to the next level that you could have gotten to because something personal happened in your space as far as your leadership. This is why the two are important. But what really makes our lives work are the people that we surround ourselves with. And so, like, that follow-up that they were giving, that is being generous. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's busy. You know what I mean? Like, I hate to say it, but I mean, I read something on social media once that was like, it was a huge, guru that basically said, if I died today, my feeds would be filled with condolences. But in 2 weeks from now, everybody will have moved on. And so you stop and say, how are we living our life right now? Who are we surrounding ourselves with right now? Because at the end of the day, there's kind of a lot of truth to that. There might be someone like you loving your father and holding on to him. There might be like someone that holds on to you like that. But the truth is most of the world will just move on.
And I have to tell you, that's a reality for sure. But I will say that one of the things I've learned is that being vulnerable, I used to hide when I was sad, lone wolf Meredith.
About that isolation you can get out.
And I reach out and I encourage my friends and fellow leaders and pace sisters and brothers to do the same, because there's so much magic. And I always think about how you, Shanda, alone could have extraordinary success by yourself, and I might have a certain level of success on myself. But if we join forces with nothing more than committed action to lifting each other, the possibilities then become limitless.
Well, exactly. Like, so you have a marketing agency. I am a marketer. I've spent over 7 figures just on my education of marketing, right? It's like, you go to
I'm up there, but I'm up there with you.
Yeah, but like, it's funny. Like, I now look at university and actually think university it's a very expensive debt, but it's actually cheap. Like, which is the opposite of what everybody's saying when they do offers, because our programs are much cheaper than going to a university. But when you look at, like, if you want to go masterful and you keep investing in things to go masterful, it's going to be expensive education, but you should be monetizing along the way, right? But like, when I look at all of that, like, if we joined forces, I'm sure you could walk into our company. Doesn't matter that, like, the level that this company is at. I'm sure that you could walk into this company and find ways that we could up level and turn the dial. Like I'm tired of people looking at people and going, I only want to give or be friends with that person or to have time for that person if they're wildly successful. And I'm like, you don't forget, like I see people go from startup to 7 figures in 3 and 4 years. I see people go from struggling to $500,000 in a couple months because something shifts in their leadership.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. And I'm going to tell you another sad but amazing thing that happened. I had a big salary and I lost it right in the middle of leadership. And it was terrifying because when my dad passed away, I moved my mother in with me. So I, for the first time, had the privilege of taking care of my mom. And then I was terrified again all over. And I know there are people out there who've had these unforeseen situations and that level of pressure. And I have to tell you, for a minute, I got myself in a tailspin. And then thank goodness for leadership. Because suddenly, I was in the pit of despair, Shanda. I was, even though I got a client because I was posting on Facebook, some truths and the positivity, and somebody messaged me. This has never happened, and said, Meredith, your positivity is and losing your dad is just radiating with me. She just lost her dad. She just gave me a brief message. The old Meredith would have said, I'm too busy to quickly jump on that, but my heart, so I messaged her back, and within 1 day she became a client. I resonated with her so much. And that has never happened. Okay.
That's why my whole story is in the not even my story. It's just what I realized is that, like, when you can live in that generous state and you are there for people over and top your own to-do list, you start to create a give factor in your life. And when you operate like that, do you know how often that happens to me? Like, I literally walk around and say, like, sorry to put that in money for a second, but it's like, money is so easy to make because all you have to do, and we hear it in biblical context all the time, like, if you give, it'll be smashed down and it will be, you'll be given to significantly higher, like tenfold, right? But it's like, if you only give when you have to, some people say to me, like I have to set up boundaries. Boundaries are set up to keep people out, you guys. I get some people have to create boundaries because there's something happening in your life that you have to create boundaries, but they're set up to keep people out. They also keep out abundance, right? And so when you stop and go, like I love that you're seeing this. I can't wait till you're on Coffee with Shanda in a year from now, or 6 months from now, or 4 months from now, and you dedicate your entire life to operating like that. Who needs me on a daily basis? Like, if you look at my calendar, I'm stacked. But somehow in the day, I managed to help 3, 4, 5 people that were never on my calendar, that at one point in my life would have thought that was like they were taking advantage of me, which is all a perspective and a lack of generosity. But generosity, just let's put another word, leadership. When your leadership grows, you have this ability to extend your plate, and it doesn't mean doing more. It actually means the perspective in which you think you get filled up when you serve people. But people hear this shit all the time, but they don't believe it because they have an experience of limitation in their life, because they give because they should be, or they've been guilted into it because they take on the guilt. You know what I mean? And you're experiencing it. And so that client comes on. What is that client worth to you? Other than love and empowerment, but like, what does it actually work for in real dollars?
Well, here's the thing. That was the beginning. And then I got several $1,000s in one day. Let's just say that. And here's the thing. I did not even think about the money, because at that moment, I really recognized that this person had a similar story to mine, but she said she was stuck, and we all get stuck at times. I don't care who you are or how successful, even at the top, you get stuck, right? But here's where I had some high and some delight, and all these extraordinary things were happening. And then, again, I'm in California, and I'm just looking at my savings, getting terrified about, and that, just what you were describing, is that negative energy. You can get yourself into a spin of bad energy, which does not, like, as you said, attract good people. And I was in a freak out, and I was actually hiding. There's a word for it, Meredith hermiting. And then my friends called me out on it, and I've reached out for some support, but ultimately you have to shift out of your own shit. Sorry for saying a bad word.
No, say it all the time.
Okay. So I had to shift. And guess what? It happened on a Friday night. I said to myself, this is ridiculous. Like, I know everything can turn around, and I am beating myself up. And there are people who beat themselves up. I mean, we all at times get angry with ourselves, but I just said to myself, surrender. You talked about prayer. I believe in connection as well. And at the end of the day, this miraculous thing happened. So that was a Friday night. Saturday night, after I surrendered, and I said, things are going to come. Good things are going to come. Give yourself a minute to just breathe. Your dad just died. You lost, stop beating myself up. And I get this call, 7:00. I get a text on a Saturday night from a doctor I had worked with. And it kind of made me nervous. I said, oh my goodness, are you okay, doctor? She said, I must talk to you. I said, okay, are you all right? So I immediately jumped on a Saturday night on the phone with her. She said, can you meet? I need your help. You do extraordinary marketing and you meet with my investor. I'm like, well, doctor, that's very sweet of you. What are you talking about? It was so confusing. She said, you meet with me Sunday? I said, no. She said, well, I need a plan. Can you meet with me 11 a.m. and I will see you then. I bring investor. I'm like, okay, Monday at 11 a.m. Like, I know how to put together a marketing plan, but I had to phone a friend, Shanda, about what to charge because this was a huge marketing plan. My friend said, Meredith, that's good, but you need to double it. So I went into this meeting not knowing what I was doing, and not one, but 7 people showed up. And I thought it was an interview. They were like, okay, so they look at my proposal, which I thought was really high.
We gotta keep going. Go right into it because
okay, here it is. They said, this not enough money. We want to know, you want to run all our marketing, bring your team, build a team, and we take you to China. Wait a minute. First of all, they not only was I hired before I went in, they said, with a translator's help, doctor said you're the best. We must hire you, so we will. And I'm like, oh. Then they started taking pictures with me so that in China they could see their new Los Angeles division. And but here's the thing. Then they said, not only were they open to a $100,000 immediate contract, but they said, you want to be partner? We all women practice. I could be a partner in a medical practice, and I have made doctors millions. Never myself. But that's what leadership is showing up and being open to the possibility, and stop beating yourself up, people.
Meredith, I want to ground this as we kind of bring it into a finish line. The best thing I can say is that, again, you are grounding the fact that when you lead like Martin Luther King, when you lead from a place of giving like that, and people underestimate the power of this, I can tell you, all my friends that I know, and I know that many people just want to make $2,000 a month or $10,000 a month, but there's some people on here, and let us see you on the comment section. There's some people on here that know that they were made to be millionaires. They know that they were made to be multimillionaires. They know that there's a calling, and they're working out the stuff to get it out of the way to go there. I'm going to say, don't get fascinated with the stuff, because it will move if you just dedicate your life to showing up with the leadership quality that you're actually showing. And Meredith, you're just getting started. But everybody I know that's in, 5 million, 10 million, it really starts to get interesting at about the 50, 100, $100 million businesses. If I interview my friends that have $100 million businesses, they will all tell you that there was, for the lack of, some of them don't speak about their spirituality, they'll say, it was lucky. They had an encounter like you had with the doctor that led to a partnership or led to something, a partnership that created an extraordinary growth, supernatural growth. I say that's God taking care of you, right? And that went, because I can back everything up in scripture. It's tapping into a way of being that unlocks everything. And when we get consumed with our to-do list, or we get consumed with not helping people, or God forbid, it's like, do you know how many businesses I'm building? Clients? I mean, that just people I refer to, like not just one or two, like 10 a month. You know what I mean? Like, do you know how, like, it's like, I'm not building people's businesses. I'm standing in a world of entrepreneurs and helping them reach the next level because I believe in them. So I'm not saying give to people you don't believe in. I'm not saying that. I'm actually saying stop and realize who needs you and help them at a 10, not a 3.
Yes.
Don't fit people into your to-do list to help them. Make your whole life be about that ways of being. And I'm telling you, Meredith, this is just the beginning of the encounter. This is just the beginning. And whether or not this is the thing that lifts off, it doesn't matter because it's the journey. And at the end of the day, we're never going to get there. I have not met one person yet that's told me there's a destiny to our life, meaning that like, it's like we're not going to ever get there. You know what I mean? Like we're going to have to keep going through transformation. So instead of pretending like we got it all handled, this is what I love about Brene Brown, right? Instead of pretending like we got it all handled, we get to realize that it's okay. It's like, it's okay to go to deliverance and fall down on the floor and you're not weird. It's okay to, be a spiritual leader and stand up and say that you're going through your next transformation. It's okay to own a marketing agency and say, oh my gosh, there's this piece of marketing I don't understand. I'm going to learn that piece. Like, it's okay for us to not be freaking perfect. Can I get an amen to that?
Yeah, amen.
Not be perfect. What's important though, is that we don't get so consumed with our agenda that we think we're the only ones that matter. That we somehow think that making money is the destiny of our life, or that somehow we think that our purpose is more important than stopping and looking up and actually pushing other people's movements forward. If you become the leader that pushes other people's movements forward, your movement will quantum leap because you'll have multiple encounters like this. Do you know what the biggest challenge is for the most successful people in the world? We have too many opportunities. And I'm not just saying a bunch of podcasts or a bunch of places to speak. I mean, that was way down the path. Like that was way down the path, the journey. Like I'm way past that moment. And I can't wait to see the next moment of opportunities. But it's like you've got Netflix, Hulu, like your own reality TV show and all these things and investors and tons of money. Like it just keeps getting better. But you become better at the way that you lead. And when you become better, you always get more. And so the deal is where are we limiting ourselves? Where are we standing in a place that somehow we feel like we can't or we won't? And that's the place to tackle. So you've done over $100,000 inside of about 3 weeks. You are just getting started. You're just getting started. Your agency is just growing. You're going to have many more, I'm just prophesizing over you right now, that you're going to have many more 100,000, multiple 6-figure, retainers inside of your company. And I just bless you right now for being the type of person that you get to be on this planet. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for coming to the Zone event. Thank you for being a part of our community. And, I'm going to say, keep going back inside the PACE community and just encouraging everybody in there, because it's people like you that are winning, that when you go in there, there's members that can't hear me that can hear you. And so here's to all of us standing in a world that looks like this.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. God bless you guys. We'll see you on Coffee with Shanda tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, we're going to have somebody who just did multiple 6 figures inside of a couple days. She's going to be on telling her story of how she actually did it. So tune in at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning if you want just that opening, that perspective shift, so that you can go ahead and run this week as powerful as you possibly can. Here's to not being lazy. Here's to not holding back. Here's to getting out of your own way and becoming a finisher. All right, you guys, God bless. We'll see you later. Bye.